Nobody comes up the East Road anymore. The town sits walled at the end of the only maintained road in the world. Every other road died generations ago, and the dead ones are worth seeing once. Old world highways cracked open like dropped bread, grown over with the dusky purple bloom that covers everything the dark has claimed. The one living road survives because of its bells. Copper bells on posts, one every quarter mile, and every traveller rings every post as they pass, because the ringing keeps the dark off the road. The rule is older than anyone walking. Ring and live. Traffic on that road is town traffic. Salvage crews out in the morning, home by dark. From beyond, from whatever is left of the wider world, nothing. The wall watch keeps an eye on the east horizon out of custom, the way a man checks a door he has never once found unlocked. So, when the horn blew 2 short notes that evening, half the town came up onto the wall to see what custom had caught. Dust, first. A plume of it on the east road, a good 5 miles out, with the sun about an hour off the horizon. Then the speck at the base of the plume, a horse stretched flat out at the gallop, and a rider low on its neck. And then the sound arrived, carried in on the wind ahead of them, and the wall went quiet as every watcher did the same arithmetic. Bells. Ringing in order, fast, one after another, at a pace no walking traveller could ever ring them. The wall did the arithmetic in silence. At a gallop, a horse eats a quarter mile in under a minute, which leaves a heartbeat of reach at every bell, and a traveller who misses bells at dusk stops being a traveller. The rider was not missing bells. The old keeper put a long glass on him and watched him do it, reins in his teeth, swinging out of the saddle to slap each bell bare-handed as it whipped past, an hour of that already behind him at least. Arms like that do not come from a soft trade. Old Ferren Vosk kept the gate in those days, and the watch said afterward that he looked from the rider to the sun and started clearing the yard. The last mile is the part the watchers still tell over cups, and they tell it low. The horse was finished. Anyone raised around animals could see it from the wall. The stride gone ragged, the neck dark with lather, running on whatever horses run on when the body is spent. The rider had stopped slapping bells with his palm and was using the flat of a short iron bar, saving his broken hand. And the rings came uneven now, but they came. And below the causeway, in the ditch grass, the grass was moving, bending in long lines against the wind, keeping pace with the horse. Nothing showed itself, nothing needed to. The whole wall watched the grass come on beside the rider, the way tall grass bends over a dragged rope, waiting for one missed bell. He did not miss one. The gate bars at dark. Not at first star, not when the keeper feels like it. When the sun is gone, the doors are shut, and they do not open again for anything that asks. The town has held to that rule through worse nights than anyone will describe to an outsider. Vosk held the doors to the last sliver of light. The watch swears the sun was a finger's width from gone when horse and rider came up the causeway's final stretch. The grass in the ditch surging now, the last bell struck so hard it cracked its own note, and the doors already swinging as the horse came through the gap at a dying stagger. The horse crossed the yard and went down like a dropped coat. The rider rolled clear and came up standing, and before one person could reach him, he held out a letter, sealed in dark red wax at arm's length, the way a man hands off the only thing he has left. Then he sat down in the mud next to his horse and stayed there while the town came running and the doors boomed shut behind them both, and the grass outside settled back the way grass does when the wind owns it again. The horse died in the yard within the hour, steam still rising off it, with the rider's forehead pressed to its cheek. The town brought blankets and hot water and stood around awkwardly, because the town knows what to do for hurt people and lost crews, and had no custom at all for this. So it made one. They buried the horse inside the walls, beside the gate it had beaten the sun to. Ground inside a wall is for people, everywhere, always, and no one argued, and the grave has a border of set stones and one worn shoe on top of it to this day. The letter went up the hill to the bell tower that same night, seal unbroken, and what it said never came back down. The town was not told, and the town, being the town, has been guessing since. What they got instead of answers was this. Within the week, every bell rope on the east road came down and was replaced with new cord, and the watch on the east horizon was doubled. A month later, men with the same dark red seal began arriving on the road from outside, one at a time, asking their quiet questions. The rider stayed a season, mending, saying nothing about what was behind him. Then he left the way he came, on a borrowed horse, at a walk this time, ringing every bell. The whole wall watched him out of sight, and no one ever learned his name. The horseshoe on the grave stays polished. Nobody admits to doing it.